Welcome back to Evolution Woodworks. The people at FindBuyTool sent me out this new Machorool 10-inch Jobsite table saw, and today we're going to take a look at it and see what we think. Now, obviously, this isn't going to replace my Unisaw here in the shop, but I know for a lot of you working in a small shop or your garage, these little Jobsite saws are actually just the perfect size for your situation.
To get started, let's get this out of the box and see what we have. Let's take a look at some of the specs on the saw while I do a little bit of assembly. This is the American version, so it's rated at 15 amps at 110 volts. It has a brush type motor with a no-load speed of 4,200 RPM. It takes a standard 10-inch blade with a 5/8 inch arbor, and it's listing up to a 1/2 inch wide, 8-inch diameter slotting cutter, or dado stack to most of us. The maximum depth of cut is 3.5 inches at 90 degrees and 2 3/8 inches at what should be listed here as 45 degrees. The maximum rip width is listed at 24 inches, though mine was only able to get to about 23 3/8 inches. I think I could get it to the full 24 here if I adjusted the fence to the end of its rails, and I'll show you a little bit more on that later.
All right, it does come with a blade installed, but before I turn this thing on, I'll make sure that blade's tight. So we have our blade wrenches, nice little storage area over there on the side with cord wrap, nice locking throat plate.
So this was a little odd. The open end wrench that comes with it to hold the blade in place actually looked like it was crushed a little bit at the end, so it didn't fit over the flat sides of the arbor, and I couldn't get it to hold the blade in place. So I ended up taking a metal file and just working on the end of that a little bit to open it up. Once I did that, I could finally get it over the flat sides and got the blade tightened up without any trouble.
Got a riving knife built in. This little lever snaps up. Slide that over to the side and pull that up into the working position. And snap into place. Lock that down. So put our plate back in. Lock that down. All right. I have to admit, it took me multiple attempts to figure this thing out just because the pictures aren't that great, but basically the metal pin across here latches under that first catch, and then that locks in place. So it's pretty simple once you figure it out. To this little table. All right, I got everything assembled now. Let's take a look at it, and we're gonna start off in the travel mode. I've got everything packed up and as compact as it can go, and then we'll set everything up, start checking, see what's square, what's straight, what isn't, and then we'll give it a test. All right, starting out here on the side, we've got our fence. The fence is actually upside down right now, so that's in a storage position. Makes the top nice and flat. We've got our blade guard. There's a storage area for that underneath. Across the front here, of course, we've got our controls. Got a nice wire wrap for the cable. And nice little storage area for the miter gauge. And you can see here on the back where we have our dust collection port and the direct drive motor. Everything's shrouded, so it should do pretty decent with the dust collection. So let's get everything set back up and we'll give her some tests. All right, first thing we got to do is loosen these up for our extension. This is actually pretty nice. Most of the smaller job site saws don't have a work support like that, so that's a nice little feature that you don't see on some of the more expensive saws actually.
Now we'll unlock the fence, pull that out of the way, and then we can start checking the setup and make some adjustments as needed.
All right, so starting with the easy stuff, we're gonna go ahead and level this. Just make sure it is flush with our table.
First thing you want to check on any table saw that you're setting up is to make sure the blade is parallel with the miter slot, and it should be that way from the factory. This one was, so I moved on to checking for square vertically.
That looks pretty good.
The fence was out about 1/16 of an inch front to back, so I did need to make a few adjustments here.
All right, for the fence, I just need to loosen this up. It's gonna let me slide that around. I got a piece of 3/4 inch plywood in here. Make sure it's touching on both ends. And we'll lock this back down. There are 2 positions. You can see here, this one's gonna get you closer to the blade. So we'll wanna set both of them up.
This last little piece of the outfeed support wasn't even with the rest of it, so a little squeeze from a clamp and
Problem solved.
with the last adjustments made, I hooked it up to the dust extractor and made a couple test cuts with the blade that came with the saw just to see how it worked. Like most saws, the blade that comes with it really isn't the greatest.
Not the worst cut I've ever seen, considering it's a construction blade. I'm gonna switch that out for their 40 tooth, and we'll give that a shot too and see how it works.
They did send me over one of their 40 tooth combo blades to test out, so I swapped that in for the rest of the test. 24 tooth would have been fine cutting 2x on a job site, but I think most of you would rather see how it does in a woodworking shop than in a rough construction setting. I made another cut on some 3/4 inch plywood, and then I gave it a real test with some nice thick maple.
With that one, it's actually a very nice cut. Nice and smooth. Don't see any saw marks. Pretty good blade.
Now, you can hear the motor work a little bit harder on this maple, and I, of course, didn't shove it through as fast as I would on my cabinet saw, but it did a pretty good job overall.
All right, a little bit of chatter there in the middle. Not sure if that was my fault or the saw's fault, but didn't seem to bog it down too bad. So that was a good, 1 3/16 maple, so that's a pretty good cut.
One final run through with some 1/2 inch plywood at full width, and you can really see how this outfeed support comes in handy on the smaller saws.
And again, got a nice clean cut. No chatter. A little bit there at the end. I think that's where I was actually binding it up myself, trying to push it through, but pretty good cut. All right, so I have it hooked up to the Rockler dust extractor, and it's actually doing a pretty good job. You can see I've only made a couple cuts, but there is not too much dust. So it's doing a pretty good job of sucking up the dust. I like that. One final thing, it did come with this, just like most saws. Honestly, the miter gauges that come with them are a complete joke, and this is no different. So if you really needed to use it, you know, on a job site, you wanted to do some cross cuts, it'll get in there. It'll do the job. Honestly, a good miter gauge is golden for any table saw. So just get a good one and use that instead. With the fence in the outward position, we have right around 23 and about 3/8, a little less than 3/8 as our max capacity. It does look like we could probably slide those stops out just a little bit more off of each end, and that would give us the full 24 that they listed as. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for my initial testing. Let's get into the good, the bad, and just my final thoughts on the whole thing. First thing on the good side, obviously at this price point, you're well below a lot of the saws in this category. So if you're working on a budget, definitely something to take a look at. My first initial thoughts on the fence were a little rough. It needed some adjustment. Once I got it adjusted, everything seemed to cut pretty smooth. The high-low feature works good with the secondary drop down to act as a table extension. The locking mechanism definitely locks it nice and tight. It locks front and rear, so you don't have the problem with like the old saws where the fence was kind of wandering one end to the other. And it seemed to work pretty good. Dust collection on this thing was actually pretty good. The blade's fully enclosed on the bottom, so with the vacuum attachment on the backside, it sucked up a lot of the dust right off the blade. And you know, if you're working in a small shop, that is a big deal, trying to keep things clean. And you know, even if you're on a job site, if you're working in somebody's house, any extra dust collection you can do makes a big difference there too. So as I mentioned before, the rear table extension, you know, that's some of the bigger brands don't have that. DeWalt, Bosch, you know, most of those saws don't even have that on it. So for such a simple feature, I don't know why the higher price point saws don't have this. Any extra support you can get makes a big difference. So you're not just dropping your cutoffs straight off the back of the saw. That actually gets kind of dangerous. If you're working on trim or some sort of fine woodworking, you don't just want to drop the wood on the floor behind the saw. So having that actually is a big plus for me. All right, on to the bad. Right from the get-go, when I cracked the box open, there were, you know, loose parts laying in the bottom of the box. Things could have easily gone missing or been broken, so I think they could spend a little bit more time packaging the small parts and maybe tape some things into the styrofoam. So I think they could spend a little bit more time on the packaging. After I got it out of the packaging, I had to assemble it, and that's where we got into these instructions, which that's what I think of the instructions. I'll be honest with you, I made it up as I went along. The instructions have some very tiny little black and white pictures that even with my reading glasses on, I didn't know what those pictures were supposed to be. Definitely use some more work. I think some large clear photos with less words would be the way to go on that.
One last knock against it. Even though this is the American version, the rip gauge for the fence was in millimeters. So I had to resort to using a tape measure to set up the width of cut on the fence. Not a big deal, but I don't see it changing here in America anytime soon. So let's get some inches on there.
All right, so final thoughts on the Machorool 10-inch job site table saw. I think if you're working on a tight budget and you work in a small shed or you're a contractor, need a job site table saw, this is definitely worth taking a look at. And if you are looking for more woodworking content like this, click on one of these videos over here, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.